All right, crew, welcome back. Today I'm going to go over a brief little tips and tricks for the 20-meter rushes that you are going to do in your force test. So if you're new to the channel, please follow, like, subscribe so that I can give more tips. So I have our 80-meter course set up already behind me here. I'm going to go over some of the best ways that you can improve on doing your rushes, okay? The first tip is always try to do some variation of burpees or some speed work in terms of sprinting. Remember, this is an anaerobic portion of the test, so you're going to be moving pretty fast in order to hit that 51-second time cap that you're going to have within the test, okay? So you're going to do 7 up downs in terms of line down, hands up, is what the administrator is going to give you, so just be mindful of those. I'm going to give you a couple tips as to what to do at each end of the line, like this big thick yellow line. Now I do have lines already set up because I am at Beaver Hall, so it is going to be a little bit nice. Make sure that when you do this at home or anywhere else in another gym, make sure you measure out your 20 meters, okay? So you're going to have your 20 meters from this line down here all the way to the one that you see over here at the end, right? And the one down here is going to be your 10-meter line. So you can do this within a like a football field or anything like that, but it is easier to just measure it out and have it good, okay? Our starting position, what we really want to do is make sure that we're kind of in that great position. You're almost ready to go. Your shoulders are just behind the line as best as you can. But what you're going to try to do in this bottom position is you're going to have your hands elevated, as the evaluator is going to mention, is that you're going to have them elevated, but you want them in that push-up position. So you'll notice that my hands are not out here, my hands are not out here. They're right nice, tight to my armpits, so that when I have that initial, like 3, 2, 1, go, I can get up as soon as possible, and remember to kick that one foot up in order to get the most drive, just kind of like what a sprint would be. When it comes down to the middle line and what you're going to do in order to touch, is that you're going to approach, take a stance, and try to reach for that line first. And you're going to swing your leg back down so that you get into this position. Remember, quick hands, and then continue in that forward. The key to this is to get as close to this middle line as possible, right? So your shoulders need to still be back, but you need to be able to touch and go as close as you can. Now, when it comes to the end line, so you must go perpendicular to the line each time, right? So the nice thing about Beaver Hall is that I have this extra green line here that is just a different line for a different tool, but we have it, and I've used it in order to know where my stopping foot needs to go. So when I'm rushing up to the line, I'm making sure that I make contact with this line. I'm reaching for the other line with my other foot, and then from there, I'm kind of kicking myself back and down to this position because I want to be as far away from that line as possible. Hands up, same thing. The reason that we stay far away from that line is because we need to cover as much distance as possible to the next one. So instead of me going at that line and being down here and close to the line, I got more distance I need to cover going that way. So for me, it's easier if I push myself back, say a foot. Look at all the distance that I just covered by pushing myself back and now moving, right? Now, the one thing I want you to mention, if you can practice at home, is you're going to be counting your steps. So I got about 7 steps in there. What I'm doing is I'm looking for that green line and reaching out with my toe. That way, when I kick it back, I kind of know what I'm in, right? But it's also good to find your braking markers, right? Like if I'm at 6 or 7 steps, I kind of know at my, like say 4 or 5th, I got to transition into that backward, like slowing down, because I've got a lot of force going this way, but I really want to kind of get that deceleration going in order for me to brake and not overshoot the line. That's a common thing that we see is people overshooting the line or getting up to this point and like shuffling like this. That's just a waste of time, right? So you want to make sure you're braking before that line, touching with the toe, dropping down, hands up, and then you're on your way to the other side. Now, another thing to note as well is you see people kind of go on that diagonal. Yes, that does help a little bit, but not enough to really make too much of a difference. So when you're coming up, it's more efficient if you just slide your foot down right from here, and then what you want to do is kind of push up yourself and pivot and out. Now, again, you have to be pretty explosive out of your push-up in order to get that, but you run that fine line of when you're coming up to the line and you're doing a like side position like this. This is more illegal than anything. So we want to kind of give benefit of the doubt to our evaluator so that you are actually perpendicular to the line, looking forward to the line you approached. And those are for your end lines. Now, before I go into real time, I'm going to show you my very last tip and trick that I have. So when you walk into the gym, depending on the flooring and stuff like that, today our floor is really clean. And it's really sticky when it's clean. So one of the things that you want to make sure is that you come in, you have your gym shoes, you're separate from your outdoor shoes. And if you have any, you can use the Certainty wipe that we have in most facilities around here, but give your shoes a nice wipe off. The dust that accumulates on the shoes is actually going to not allow you to brake as hard when it comes down to slowing yourself down. So as you can kind of see now, I got a little bit more grip because now I can squeak my shoes, right? So I do those on both sides. Just make sure that you have clean shoes when you go to run, and make sure they're dry as well. You don't want to be slipping all over, kind of like what I am doing right now. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a real-time actual start to the midline, line down, hands up, to the end line, line down, hands up, to the midline, line down, hands up. Whoa! Don't trip and fall. Running right through. Please, if any of these tips helped you out, like, subscribe, comment, leave me a note on what component is hardest for you, and I'll try to give you some more tips. Thanks.